Vasudeva Vasutam Devam Kamsacharuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. We start today on the 8th chapter, titled the chapter on the immutable Brahman, Akshara Brahma Yoga. Arjuna's profound questions begin here. You must understand that he has received a cue in the previous few verses of the 2nd chapter, 7th chapter. And that chapter was entitled Knowledge and Special Knowledge, or Knowledge and Realization. The Yoga of Knowledge and Realization, Jnana and Vijnana Yoga. So towards the end, Sri Krishna, he speaks about himself as being that entity. So taking the cue, Arjuna now begins his questions, and these questions are very profound. We think that profound questions are, who am I? What am I? These are not profound questions. And that has been the problem with understanding Indian philosophy or Vedanta or Hinduism, that you have to ask questions in the paradigm that has been placed before you in the 7 chapters leading up to this. So in this, Arjuna, he asked, O Supreme Person, what is that Brahman? What is that which exists in the individual plane? What is karma? And what is that which is said to exist on the material plane? What is that which is said to be existing in the divine plane? Now, generally, the two verses, the first and the second, are taken together. I'll read the 2nd verse also. O Madhusudana, O Krishna, who is the Adiyagnya, who is the Lord of the sacrifices, and how is he in this body? And at the time of death, how are you to be known by people of concentrated minds? These are the 7 questions that Arjuna has put to Sri Krishna. It's very clear. You see, the idea is, what is the reality? The perceptible, the imperceptible reality is being inquired into. Not, who am I? No. Because this very fact is, we are experiences. And what do we experience? This world. And let's now unpack what you are experiencing. So here he is by saying, Purushottama, O Supreme Person. Now what is this person? Is he a person? Not in the sense of a person with a body and with a mind, etc. The sum total of all personalities is the Lord, And that's why it's called a supreme person. And yet he transcends all personalities. Because in the 15th chapter he says, I am that Purushottama, Uttama Purushastvanya Paramatmeti. I am that supreme person. So Arjuna, he addresses him as, O supreme person. Saying, what's that? What is that Brahman? Everybody wants to know what's that Brahman. Everybody is saying Brahman, Brahman, Brahman. What is Brahman? Okay. It comes from the root bri. That is that which is the vastest, the most pervasive, that which is unlimited. That is called Brahman. And since this chapter is on the immutable Brahman, it's called Akshara. Kshara is to decay, to something to diminish, to suffer attrition. This reality does not suffer any decay, limitations, or anything. So it's called Akshara, that which is not mutable. And then he says, what is that which exists in the individual plane? Individual plane? Yeah. We will come down to it. What is karma? What is that which is said to exist on the material plane? And what is that which is said to be existing on the divine plane? Now, throughout the Vedanta, the first thing that it teaches you is you are an entity embedded in a larger entity, and that larger entity is embedded in a still larger entity. Why? But what about me? Well, if suppose a cell in my body suddenly decides to say, I am an individual cell, I live and die alone, I have no concerns with anything or anyone. Is that a kind of an individuality? Because that individuality will be subject to death, immediate death. That individuality is sustained, the individuality of the cell is sustained by all the other mechanisms, the other cells. The whole body is now functioning to keep that one alive. So this cell in me is a part of that embedded reality, which is this. So suppose one cell says, I don't care for the rest of the body. No, that can't be. And this has been the problem when one studies Indian philosophy. They are talking about an embedded reality within the embedded reality, within the greater embedded reality. They are not talking about you, they are talking about the whole. It's a holistic science. Today we have the holistic medicine, we have holistic this and holistic that. This is holistic philosophy. So we are so enamored with our own existence. What's going to happen to me? What's you? Millions are coming and millions are going away. Greater people than you. And you are worried about that simple illusion that you think you are. So the Vedanta simply dismisses, and this is what the authentic Vedanta preachers have been trying to speak about it. The profound question that Arjuna asked first is, okay, what is that Brahman? We will keep this at the side a little. Okay? What exists on the individual plane? He used three words. Adhyatma, Adibhuta, Adidaiva. Okay? These are the three levels of existence. It's also called Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha. That which is experienced, lokas. So when you're talking about, suppose you're looking at the sun. Okay. Now that's the symbol of that, you can say, divine realm. The fire here which is there in front of me, in which I pour my oblations, that is another symbol of this existence on the material plane. And this I that sees this fire, that recognizes this fire, is on this here body in the individual plane. So here, what exists in the individual plane, what exists in the external. See, what happens is we try to dismiss the external world, and this has been the bane of today. The United Nations Intergovernment Panel on Climate Change is saying the red alert is up, red code. We are past a tipping point. We have been exploiting, desiccating external nature. Why? Because you think it has got nothing to do with me. I breathe half my lungs, as you say, outside. When I look at the nature outside, I am constantly in touch with nature. The sights, the sounds, the taste, everything. My senses are kind of in a lock and key, you can say, combination with this external world. My senses wouldn't have developed without the external world at all. And this has been evolution. I'm trying to manifest higher and higher aspects of my reading of this external reality. And I do it through the senses. So this external world is real here. It's a part of me. And then there is something that connects both of us together on a very fundamental, on a deeper level. That is the Adidaiva, that divine. So here is saying, what is that which exists in the individual plane? Adhyat, Adi, Atma, here in this. What exists here? What exists outside? What is the foundational reality connecting the two? Adidaiva. So the symbology is the sun on the divine plane, the fire on the terrestrial plane, and the eyes that recognize is this. So what they are doing is trying to combine all these three planes of existence together. While you exist, you are in constant communion, you are in constant touch with this extra cosmic reality. So that's why he's saying, Bhur Bhuva Swaha Etat Tisro Vyaritaha. These three functions, levels of performance or experiences are three. There is another one which is called Maha, that which transcends all this. These three Vyaritis, the limiting adjuncts of what? Sa Brahma, Sa Atma. That is Brahman, that is the Atman. That is the reality in which all these three other realities are embedded. And where is this going? Somewhere outside? It's outside, it's inside. So this external world which is outside is also inside. Take for instance, my ears, they are tailored to hear sound. And sound is an aspect of space. Vast space. Even today, space, empty space, is found to have some form of sound. This has been in those Voyager 1 and 2 that have been leaving our solar system and flying outside. They also have recorded certain sounds. Touch, my skin, and air, which is all around, my eyes, and the light, and the sun outside, water, which is taste, and my tongue. And here I have smell, and the earth, and my nose. You see, external reality, the internal reality, and that which joins them. And every aspect of that space outside, by ears here, and also the sound, have a deity, a presiding deity on it. There are presiding deities outside in the sound and in my ears. My whole body is full of the deities, presiding deities. This external world is full of these presiding deities. And so also the cosmic realm also has presiding deities. But we don't realize that is the problem with us. We are so blinded. So what happens is the mind thinks and deliberates. It has the moon for a presiding deity. And then we have something called memory, and that is called Vishnu is a presiding deity. And Shiva is a presiding deity of your sense of I, the personality. And here we have this whole thing. Brahma is the intellect. All the functions here are presided over by the deities inside, the deities outside. But what is this? But there is another interpenetrating reality that ties the deities with the material aspects and the spiritual aspects and the divine aspects all together, ties everything together. That's why in one of the Upanishads called Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it says, Yo Prithvi Tishtham Prithvi Naveda Prithvi Antarayamayati Prithivim Naveda Eshata Atma Antaryami Amrita. This, the earth, one who dwells in the earth, one whose body is the earth, one who is within the earth and controls the earth from within, which earth does not know. This is your own immortal self, the Atman. And the sage, Yajnavalkya, then not only stops at earth, but water, fire, air, ether, mind, people, gods, everywhere. He speaks of that reality as interpenetrating internally. Externally, these entities do not even know that interpenetrating reality. So now you come down, once I've laid down this question of the, you can say, the conditions for the question. Here is it. Arjuna's questions now make sense. What is this reality which is within? What is that reality which is without? What is that reality which binds this within and without together? What is that reality which transcends all these things? Because in Vedanta, the first thing is taught is, you are like a tree in a forest. Well, The tree cannot exist without the forest. So the collective is called a forest, and individual are called trees. So here you have. Vedanta always looks at the forest first to explain the trees. So in our waking state, this is our waking state, the mind is awake. The body is functioning on a different conscious level. So it is called an entity called Vishwa. And there's a bigger, greater entity outside which is called Virat. So you are an aspect of this larger whole. You are part of that forest. The forest is called the gross body of God. Simple as that. Oh, what is that? Where's God? Yeah, it is everywhere. You don't have to run up here, there, and everywhere. Keep quiet. Quieten the mind and experience that real. So when suppose you're walking down a forest path and you feel the cool breeze on you, you know what? You feel alive. You feel the smell of the earth, and you feel the touch of the breeze, and you feel the warmth of that, you can say, sun on you. Suddenly you feel one with everything. That is what Vedanta is trying to tell you. Get outside your senses. Why are you so bound with this? I have to protect this at all cost. You cannot protect it without the external world helping you. So this whole external world is your extended self. This is your self here. This is your extended self outside. But this self here and this extended self does not realize that all these functions that are happening are presided over by consciousness. So that's why these three levels, the Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, and Adhidaiva. So this is the totality of the... So Arjuna wants to know who or what is this. Now I think we can kind of understand now. Yeah. I had to have a kind of extended explanation for this. But it's necessary for us to fix our mind. Your individual existence has got no meaning without a collective existence. And that's why it's necessary for you to protect this external world, the environment outside, because it is an extended part of you. So now we come, what is that Brahman? Okay. Now all these three levels of reality, Bhur, Bhuva, Swa, all these three, internal, external, and the divine, that which is embedded within that Brahman. Is this Brahman conditioned or unconditioned is the question. Is it with form or without form? Is it limited or is it unlimited? These are the questions that he has put here. So what exists on the individual plane? Here. This is my individual plane. So what is here then in this individual plane? I know that there is some entity that transcends these small limitations of mine. You see, all these three planes, the divine, the external world, and the internal world, intersect here. Where? They intersect here on these various levels of consciousnesses. We have different levels of consciousness. No? As it goes higher and higher, it becomes more and more rarefied, more and more subtle. These, as I say, this anahata, here, this anahata, the heart, it is a meeting place of the three levels of existence: the individual, the external, and that which binds them together. So it is actually here, it is experienced here, it is experienced outside, it is experienced everywhere. So this is that Brahman, here we have. And the Brahman is appearing as these three dimensions. It's like a story within a story within a story. A self embedded in a higher self, in a still higher self, in a still higher self. And that is that Brahman that he wants to know. At the same time, he also wants to know how that reality is appearing as inside, outside, and everywhere. Okay. So that's why he's saying, what is that Brahman? What is that which exists in the individual plane? What is karma? What is that which is said to exist in the material plane? And what is that which is said to be existing in the divine plane? It's not something heaven or something. It's all here. It's here, here, here. That Brahman is here. Inside, outside, everywhere. What is karma? Well, say, there's the commentator speaks about Vijnanam Yagnam Tanute. So karma is that which executes or performs the sacrifice. All actions are performed through sacrifice. So we have this, the next concept that, the next question that Arjuna puts is, who is the Adi Yajna? Who is the Lord of the sacrifices? How is that Lord of the sacrifice to be known in the body? And at the time of death, how are you to be known by people of concentrated minds? Adi Yajna katam kotra dehesmin madhusudana prayana kale cha katam jneyo sinyatatma bihi. So who is the Lord of the sacrifices? It's in the scriptures, it's saying Vishnu is the Lord of sacrifice. Vishnu is sacrifice. Yajno vai Vishnu. All sacrifices is God. Simple as that. Now God, we talk about Vishnu, is the personalized aspect that we know. He is a preserver, he's a creator, he's a sustainer of this world. But Vishnu means Vyapana, that which pervades everything. So this Lord of sacrifice pervades all sacrifices in all bodies. He is here in all bodies. There it is. What is sacrifices? In the old days, it was this sacrifice, the Vedic sacrifices, the fire sacrifices. As we have mentioned, that this whole creation began with a sacrifice. The Creator started a sacrifice. And out of the sacrifice has come creation. So that which is in the beginning will be in the middle and it will be in the end. It's not going to dissipate. That reality is going to be there. So whatever we do in life is a form of sacrifice. It's a form of karma. It's a form of God. As easy as that. Okay. Yeah. I sacrifice my joys for a little pain in the back when I'm trying to meditate. Oh my God. I could have gone for a movie. No, I'll sacrifice that for a little meditation. Okay, fine. I'll sacrifice some. You always sacrifice the lesser for the greater. Always. This is the principle of sacrifice. The lesser sacrifice so that you may attain the greater. The more a person sacrifices, the more the higher the person rises. The more the person sacrifices, the greater that person is. Sacrifices his time, the energy, the mental energy, or whatever is there. The more the person can sacrifice for others, the more that person is elevated. The more that person does not sacrifice, the more selfish the person is. And the very, you can say, basis of religion or anything is unselfishness. You have to sacrifice. Why do you have to sacrifice? Oh yeah, last time we spoke about love and sacrifice are kind of together. People want the one side, love, and forget the sacrifice part. I want love. But you have to sacrifice for that. No, I can dispense with that sacrifice. So that's not love then. A mother for the child, a mother will sacrifice everything for a child. Well, it's inevitable. So this is the basis of creation. So who is the Lord of these sacrifices? So here the question is, who is that Adi Yajna? Who is the Lord of the sacrifice? And how does that Lord of the sacrifice exist in the body? Because the body is the basis of sacrifice. Here, Dehasmin, wow, the Lord of the sacrifice is here, yes, dwelling within us. And then it says, at the time of death, okay, how are you to be known? How is God, how is the reality to be known? By people of concentrated minds. And what concentrates the mind? What constitutes concentration? When your mind settles on reality. When your mind is not settled on reality, the mind is restless. And the more restless the mind is, the more dissipated you become, the more exhausted you become, the more crazy you become. And you're running after shadows, you're running after illusions. And then you regret all that restlessness that has led you away from reality. Then you want to come back again. Oh, yeah. Now what is reality? And you don't have a clear-cut conception of reality. And again, the mind again bubbles out. And when this time to depart from this body, it's nothing big. You know. In the second chapter, he's saying, when you change your clothes, it's nothing. You change your clothes and you put new garments. So similarly, you change your body and put a new body. It's not a big thing. But the idea is, at the time of death, if you can concentrate your mind on reality, you will attain that reality. There's no more need to put on another garment. You've done with it. You've known reality. Why is he saying, how are you to be known by people? Why did he say concentrated mind? Because at the time of death, the life forces, the vital forces, and all the functions of the body are kind of in a confusion. Everything is kind of crumbling down. It is that time when you're supposed to have practiced through that yoga. It's called Prayana Kale Manasa Chalena Bhaktya Yukto Yoga Balena Cha. Through the strength of yoga, through that devotion, you hold your mind steady here and say Om, and you leave the body. That is the style in which you need to go. Not, hey, where is my... No. What will happen to me? What's going to happen to me? What kind of death is that? You go with style in. Yeah. Kabir says, oh Kabir, saying, when you were born, The whole world was in joy and they laughed, but you cried. Now when you're going to depart, let the whole world cry and you go joyously out. That is real death. You are supposed to conquer death. Otherwise, what is life? This life has been given for you for what? To conquer death. And when you conquer death, you conquer life itself for the life. So that's why this question becomes important. Prayana Kali, at the time of departure. Saying what is saying? So katam jneyosi, how do I know? How do we know you? How do we know you? People of concentrated minds, obviously. Oh, look who's coming. Look who's coming. Hey! And there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories, incidents, facts, where people, when they are leaving the body, see Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother or Swamiji, and they leave their bodies. All their life worth of sacrifices and practices have come to a kind of a head. Yeah. Now you have to come. I have worshipped you, the Lord of all sacrifices, by sacrificing my everything for you. In search of wealth, thou art the only wealth I have found. I sacrifice myself unto you. In search of someone to be loved, thou art the only beloved I have found. I sacrifice myself unto thee. You think the beloved will not come to you? The Lord of sacrifices, when you have performed the sacrifices your whole life. So these are the fundamental questions that Arjuna puts to Sri Krishna. And the Lord, from the 3rd verse, will explain address these profound questions with even profound answers. I've given you a kind of a roadmap of what this Arjuna's questions. You have to situate Arjuna's questions within a framework. You see, if you don't understand a framework, you will not make any sense of the questions, and the answers will become meaningless. That's why in Vedanta says this quibble about who am I? Stop it. First, get to know the higher aspects of this reality. And that who am I is meant for the very elite, the extra, you can say, the superlative spiritual practitioners. When they find that this I does not exist at all. In Vedanta, we had this cancel culture long time ago. Cancel. Now everything is cancelled. Cancel. We had a cancel culture long ago. We cancelled the I. I? What's that? Cancel it. And what remains? That Brahman that you are looking out for, that is it. So this is a cancel culture in Vedanta. Cancel the I. Cancel the you. Cancel all pettinesses. Cancel all limitations and come out of your broad self. In the morning I was telling somebody about Swami Vivekananda speaks about a Chinaman who was imprisoned for 50 years, and when with the coronation of a new emperor, all political prisoners were released, and so this Chinaman also was released, and he came out in the sun, the warmth and the beauty of the external world frightened him. No, I'll die out here. I want to go back. I want to go back in my bug, my vermin, my rat-infested dungeon. In the darkness and the damp and the kind of stench. That person who lived there for 50 years, he was used to that. He couldn't just come out. He Couldn't see the higher reality. This is what we need to come out. Come out of our stenchy holes, a vermin-infested eye, and then cancel it out. Come out and feel the sun on your face and the breeze against your cheeks, and smell the earth. Feel alive. Then you are coming into this reality. These answers now will make sense to you. So we take this profound answers next Thursday. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Oh, that's a good thing. So we have just the general kind of things. How advanced, highly scientific and the rishis were. But unfortunately, we don't know. I was never encouraged to explore these most advanced. Okay, fine. Now that you know, now we put a little effort in furthering our spiritual knowledge. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.